You ever wake up one morning and realize the silence around you feels more like a blessing than a void? Not empty, not lonely, just calm. You hear the birds outside, the soft creak of your floorboards, the fridge humming in the kitchen, and that's it. No one making noise, no one asking questions, no one expecting a thing, just peace for some. That feeling isn't just nice. It's a clue, a quiet whisper that maybe, just maybe, it's time to live alone, not out of rejection, not out of necessity, but out of choice. Out of knowing yourself better than anyone else ever could. So let's talk about it, not in theory, in truth. Here are 12 quiet, unmistakable signs that living alone in your later years might be the most life-giving decision you could ever make. First, you feel more relaxed by yourself than around others. This isn't about being antisocial, it's about where you recharge. For some, restoration comes from chatter, gatherings, the buzz of people, but for you, it's the opposite. You breathe clearer, you think deeper, you feel safer when it's just you and your space. Second, you've stopped needing noise to feel alive. Maybe you once turned on the TV for company or left the radio humming so the house didn't feel so empty. But now you savor silence. It lets you think. It lets you notice things like light dancing on the wall or the tea kettle singing at just the right pitch. Noise no longer comforts you. Quiet does. Third, constant compromise wears you out. You've spent decades adjusting timing meals around someone else's schedule, giving up your side of the bed, tolerating habits that never quite fit. Now you crave one thing more than harmony, peace that isn't negotiated, peace that simply is. Fourth, your energy has become more selective. You used to spread it thin visits, favors, chats, helping everyone. Now you guard it. You notice how drained you feel after long calls or extended company. It's not that you don't care. It's that your well runs deeper when fewer people draw from it. You're not selfish, you're seasoned. Fifth, your home feels like a sanctuary most when no one else is there. The moment the door clicks shut behind a visitor, your shoulders drop. You feel it in your chest, a deep, quiet relief, not dislike, relief, like your space finally belongs to you again. Like you can breathe without explaining why. Sixth, you're done explaining. You like cereal for dinner. You rearrange furniture just because you finished the last page of a book before the first. You don't want to defend these quirks anymore. Living alone means not having to justify your joy. Seventh, you've developed little rituals that only make sense to you. Maybe you sit by the window with coffee every morning at the same time, or water your plants while humming an old tune. These rituals anchor you, they're personal, and when someone else disrupts them even accidentally, it feels like a wave hitting your shore. Alone they flourish, shared they fade. Eighth, sleep has become sacred. You wake up naturally without alarms. You go to bed when your body says so, without anyone else snoring, tossing, or getting up at night. You finally sleep through. It's not just rest, it's recovery, and you don't want to give that up. Ninth, you've stopped enduring small talk just to be polite. You used to nod, smile, listen, perform. Now you want conversations with meaning, or none at all. You want quiet without awkwardness. Alone, that's exactly what you get. No pretending, no performance, just presence. 10th, you love people more when you don't live with them. You've noticed this. You look forward to visits. You're more patient, kinder, because when you control your time, space, and energy, you show up more fully. You're not stretched thin, you're centered, and your relationships actually improve. 11th, you're tired of being the emotional regulator. You've spent years calming others down, cheering them up, tiptoeing around moods. You were the glue, the manager, the stabilizer. Now you just want to feel what you feel without being responsible for anyone else's emotional weather. Living alone lifts the weight of someone else's sky. 12th, then this is the one that seals it. You feel more like yourself when no one's watching. You dance in the kitchen. You talk to your dog like he's a person. You wear the same sweater for 3 days because it's cozy. You let yourself be without editing. That right there is the real gift of solitude. Now let's be honest. Some people won't understand. They'll ask if you're lonely. They'll wonder if you're okay. They'll offer to set you up with someone or warn you not to be alone too long. But you'll smile, because deep down you know something they don't. You know peace isn't something you wait for. It's something you create. You know being alone isn't the same as being lonely. In fact, it's often the cure, because when you live alone by choice, your days are yours. Your pace is yours. Your home becomes a mirror of your needs, not someone else's demands. You eat when you're hungry. You nap when you're tired. You don't explain why you don't feel like going out or why you're perfectly happy staying in. You just live authentically, fully, with a kind of gentle dignity that comes from being aligned with yourself. You're not closing the door on the world. You're opening a new one, where you choose when to connect, when to rest, when to welcome someone in, and when to keep the world outside. That choice, that's everything. So if any of this felt familiar, maybe it's time to stop brushing it off. Maybe it's time to stop telling yourself it's just a phase. Maybe it's your soul quietly tapping your shoulder, saying, asterisk, this is who we are now. Let's honor it. Asterisk, you're not behind, you're not strange, you're wise, and for the first time in a long time, you have the power to build a life around that wisdom. Let's talk about what happens after you decide to live alone. Not the fear or doubts, but the quiet wins, the slow mornings, the little things no one warns you about because they're too good, too personal, too sacred for a brochure. Living alone as an older adult isn't about shutting the world out. It's about letting yourself in fully. One of the first joys, control over your own time. You don't realize how precious that is until it's all yours. You wake without an alarm, or with one if you like. No negotiating meal times. You eat when your stomach says, not the clock or someone else's habit. Lunch at 3, midnight snack. You're the boss now, and it feels better than you imagined. Then comes clarity, not just in your mind, but in your home. No more stuff that doesn't belong to you. No more mess you didn't make. No more adjusting to someone else's clutter, noise, or chaos. You arrange your space to reflect your values. Maybe that's one tidy chair by the window, or books stacked high beside your bed. Maybe complete minimalism or an explosion of plants. However you design your world, it's yours. And there's something healing about seeing your personality in every corner. Solitude also sharpens your intuition. With no one around to drown it out, your inner voice grows louder. You start listening to your gut. You sense when something's off. Your body, your mood, your needs. You stop overriding those signals to keep others comfortable. You eat what feels good. You rest when your body asks. You start treating yourself like someone worth caring for. And here's something people rarely talk about. Your creativity returns. When you're not busy reacting to others, your imagination comes back online. You might start sketching again, gardening, or writing in that notebook you tucked away a decade ago. Something magical happens when your thoughts have room to stretch. You stop consuming the noise of others and start producing little moments of beauty. Even chores feel different. Tidying up becomes an act of self-respect. You're not cleaning after someone else. You're caring for your sanctuary. Dishes get washed because you want a clean sink. The floor gets swept because you love how it feels under your feet. These small acts become rituals, not obligations. Financially, things often get simpler too. You control the thermostat, the grocery list, the subscriptions. No shared accounts, no financial surprises. Every dollar reflects your priorities, your taste, your lifestyle. There's power in that not because it's about control, but because it's about clarity. You see exactly where your life is going and how it's sustained. Emotionally, you start building stronger boundaries. Without daily friction, your stress drops. Without managing someone else's moods, your mind grows lighter. And when you do interact with people, neighbors, friends, family, you bring a better version of yourself. You're not burnt out, not resentful, you're whole, and people can feel that. Another unexpected perk, you start talking to yourself more, out loud in the mirror in the kitchen. Not because you're losing it, but because there's no need to bottle things up. You laugh at your own jokes. You encourage yourself when you're tired. You say things like, okay, one more drawer, then we rest. And it works. You become your own coach, cheerleader, soft place to land, and loneliness. It visits less often than people assume. Most who choose to live alone find that it makes time with others more intentional. You schedule visits you actually look forward to. You call when you want to talk, not when obligated. You build richer, more respectful relationships. And when the call ends or the visit's over, you return to your peace, not to a roommate or partner or crowded household, but to yourself. Let's talk about safety, since that worries most people. You take precautions. You lock your doors. You might use a medical alert system. You build a check-in routine with someone you trust, but you don't let fear rob your independence. Being safe and being alone aren't opposites, they're teammates, if you let them be. Here's what might surprise you most: yourself. Worth grows every time you fix something. Every time you figure out how to carry groceries, handle your bills, solve a problem, you prove to yourself that you are capable. And that capability doesn't shrink with age. It grows stronger, deeper, steadier. You also stop second guessing your joys. You wear what you like, even if it doesn't match. You put flowers in the bathroom. You eat dessert first. You take long baths in the middle of the day, no one rolling their eyes, no one saying asterisk again. Asterisk, you start designing your life like an artist, not a committee. And the most profound gift of all, you begin to heal, not from anything dramatic, but from a lifetime of small silences, sacrifices, and softly spoken disappointments. When no one else is there to interrupt or distract, you start hearing your own needs clearly, and for once you respond, not with guilt, not with hesitation, just with love. That's the kind of life many don't understand until they live it. So if you've made the choice to live alone, or you're on the edge of that decision, I'll tell you this: it's not a step back. It's not giving up. It's stepping into something richer, slower, more aligned with who you've become. A way to honor your season of life without apology, to soften in the right places and grow stronger in the ones that matter. And the next time someone says, "Don't you get lonely living alone?" you can smile and answer, "Not really. I'm in good company. If this spoke to you, don't leave quietly." Subscribe and drop your city in the comments. I want to know where all the strong, independent souls are tuning in from, because sometimes the world needs to see just how beautiful solitude can really be.